Welcome back to Rock Bottom is the New Normal. I am, of course, Brian. Uh, I'm in a suit. I think I should dress serious for, like more of a serious discussion. I think everything that I talk about on here and everything that I talk about with people and sobriety and just all of it is so serious. But how I approach a lot of it is through humor, and I think that it's so important to be able to have humor about, like, shitty, fucked up shit in your life. Otherwise, it kind of just makes it all seem damp and stupid and like really sad. Um, and like I wanted to maybe like do like a super super raw one. Uh, all of them. I'm completely raw. I don't do like I'm unscripted. I just kind of like, speak off the dome. I generally try to like keep within like a guideline. Like I'll pick a topic and I'll just kind of see like what happens with my brain and my mouth with that topic. And I don't know, most of the time it just works out. Um so I don't like read a script. Whatever I say is literally just me, pouring my heart out. But a lot of my defense mechanisms and stuff that I've built throughout, like traumatic childhood and everything is like humor. Like I make a lot of people like I need to make everyone in the room feel comfortable by breaking the ice with everyone, and that's how I've always been. Like I've always, if like my parents argued or any of that, like I constantly was trying to make light of situations to, like make people laugh so everyone wasn't so serious, or, like you go to like a funeral or like somebody's sad about somebody dying or like somebody's sad about like a diagnosis or something. Like I always try to make light of it, just and that's probably like not a good, super great trait to have. The fact that like if anything seriously bad is happening, I'm like trying to make everybody laugh about it. But that's just how I am. I think a lot of people in my situations, and a lot of bartenders, just like a lot of people in the service industry have the same trait. Like I think that's why that we're in the service industry. I think because we're so good at making everyone around us feel comfortable all the time and make everyone around us feel like good, even in bad situations. And, I don't think about that like a lot. I don't think about me doing it because it's just so ingrained in my day to day, and it has been my entire life. Ever since I can remember, I've been trying to make everyone in the room feel good and be happy and be laughing, because if they're not laughing, then, like what are they, then they're either like in a bad mood or they're sad, or what are they going to notice about me if I'm not making them laugh? Like who am I to everyone if I'm not making them laugh? And I used to that's a, that's a super sad realization to come to, and it used to bog me down a lot more. I used to put a lot more pressure on myself in order to do this, and I was, watching Instagram Reels or something the other day, and I talk about Theo Vaughn a lot. I think that Theo Vaughn kinda, like, captures his sobriety is amazing. What he's able to do with his sobriety is amazing. He's very, like, nonchalant and cavalier about it, but when he has to be serious about it, like, he can hunker down and be serious about it, and I think that he had a serious problem, and I think he struggles with it, day in and day out, even though he is, a celebrity, and a lot of people don't want to see that, or they choose not to see it, but I think when he has, because he's funny as fuck about everything. Like Theo Von, some of his one-liners are so fucking funny. But I think I like him the most when he gets into that like seriousness and he's like completely real, raw, uncut. And he'll talk about stuff. In this one particular reel, he was talking about how, he like lost sight of like who he was. And the only way he could like figure out who he was by like how other people perceived him. And so he, like he had to put up this charade and he was talking about like balancing plates. And he was like, like I had to keep all the plates spinning because if one of the plates stopped spinning, the whole fucking thing's coming down. And I think that that's so real and so relatable, probably to a lot of us, especially to me. Like I felt that like right here. I, like I said, like I was raised in a household that I, from a super young age, felt this need to soften rooms and soften a lot of situations. And that's a lot of pressure to like, and it makes me sad, like it makes me really sad for me as a little kid. I think that a lot of people didn't notice. They just thought that I was being, like a funny kid, but I had so much pressure on me when I was little and instead of, having fun, which, people probably assumed I was having fun because I was making jokes and like laughing and stuff, but it was so much more than that. Like I felt this like guttural responsibility to make everybody laugh around me. And like I was constantly having to be on and alert as, like a little kid instead of genuinely like having fun. Like I always had eyes on everyone's situations, their demeanors, I was constantly listening to their conversations and I was gauging temperatures of conversations and people. And I like was constantly having to be ready to pull something out, like just to soften the blow. And I was constantly in my head about, okay, they're talking about X, Y, and Z. If this goes south, if they start to argue, if they start any of this stuff, like I need to be prepared with, like a one liner or a joke or like a fucking dance or like anything entertaining that's gonna get them to soften their demeanors and get everyone back on this like, common ground situation. And it's sad. It's sad that I had to do that. And it's sad that I still have to do that to this day. That's just something that's so ingrained in me that I can't get out of that mindset. Like I can't not be fully aware of situations. And I mean, like, I think that that makes me, you know, a that makes me a good bartender or a good service industry person because I have that ability to listen in to everyone's conversations and I have that ability to soften without them realizing that they need softening yet. And I have that ability to keep everyone even keeled at the bar. And I've been doing it, since I started. Like I have, because there's a lot of people that like bars are tricky. Everyone's drinking. People get pissed off when they get drinking. But, and I just know that so much so from like firsthand experience, like seeing it and being a part of it. And I now just like, I just do it without thinking. And a lot of other people, I guess, can't do that. So I don't know if it's like a good trait to have or if it's a bad trait to have because, it's so mentally exhausting and emotionally exhausting to constantly be having to soften everybody else around you. And I don't even like just thinking about it, like, I don't know if I still soften everyone around me. I still do this constantly, but like, I don't know if I'm doing it because I'm so afraid of people like seeing who I actually am and them not liking me. I mean, probably. I mean, there's probably a lot of that to it. And then there's probably also just like a lot of like, I just don't want people fighting or arguing around me because it makes me really uncomfortable. And it always has. And I remember specifically, I started to become hyper self aware of a lot of this behavior in active addiction. I mean, I was just doing it for a long time without even thinking about it. Like that was just I just assumed that everyone else was doing it. And I met a I met a girl and I I looked at this girl in a way different way than I had looked at other people before. Like she was, instantly on a pedestal. We got engaged. We lived together, everything, and I was in full blown active addiction too. And I was trying to hide a lot of it. I think I talk about this sometimes, but I was like hiding bottles in the backyard and like in the washing machine, like everywhere. And I was like, she's the only one that made me want to quit. Like she said she didn't want me drinking as much, and I took that to heart and I really tried. I tried a lot. I got sober and relapsed so many times within the span of a couple of years. And I remember just the feeling that I had around her that I could be so real and so raw and open up and all of my defensive walls that I'd built up over the years with trauma and just like bad shit happening, they went down. And I remember like starting to kind of notice patterns of myself, even though like I was drunk and everything. But I noticed that I was like going out of my way to, listen to everybody around me. And I was going out of my way to like try to make everybody happy. And it was this realization that really put even more pressure on me. And I remember multiple times like sitting on the ground in the kitchen and her like standing kind of like near me and me just stopping. And I remember just being like, I just can't do this anymore. I just can't keep up with having to make everyone else happy. And she was like, well, why are you doing that? And I was like, I have to. It's this, incessant need inside of me that like I have to make everybody happy because if I'm not making everybody happy, then like what am I doing? What am I here for? What if they see me as like not a funny guy and they start to actually see what I am? What if they fight in front of me? What if they fight so much that they get divorced? And she was like, get divorced. And I was like, well, maybe that's, like going back to my childhood. Like if my parents fought, I instantly was like, they're going to get fucking divorced. And it's going to be like my fault because I'm not making everybody laugh. And what did that look like? Like then my siblings and I are going, house to house. My siblings are going to blame me. They're not going to like me anymore. My parents aren't going to like me anymore. Like everyone on this small island that I lived on, they're going to be like, it's your fault that your parents got divorced because you didn't make them laugh. And I just remember just stopping and like just being so defeated by the fact that I have to make everyone laugh because otherwise, no one's going to like me. And that was such a harsh realization. And, I got sober and I think about that like quite a bit, even like later in my sobriety. And like, I still, like I said, I still do it. And I still have this need to please everybody in case because if I'm not making them laugh, then they're not going to like me. And that's such a hard thing. And I think that so many people in the service industry, especially like the lifers, the people that do this as a career, I think that they have the same thing, and it's hard, and you're not alone. We're all here. There's probably a lot of us that have this same incessant need, and it took over our entire childhood, and it made, our childhood's not as much fun as everyone else's, and I don't know, I have to keep trying to twist it in a positive light. I have to keep, thinking it made us better. No, it has to. It has to, like, we have to be better because of this. We have to be better adults. Like, making everyone around us feel good is like, it's not a bad trait to have. We could be way worse. It's really hard on all of us, I think, emotionally and mentally, but it could be worse. It has to be. And I don't know. It's tough. And I don't think really deeply about this often. Like, it pops in my head, I'll think about it. But since, I heard Theo Vaughn have like a similar mindset, and it just made me wonder if like that's what drove him a little bit into addiction, and like if that was a contributing factor, and if that was a contributing factor to me, like, if you have to be on 24/7 around everyone, and you're constantly not even really your true self, like that has to be a reason that you're like, yeah, I'm gonna, drink a little bit, and or like, yeah, like, a couple pills, or, a couple bumps, or whatever. Like, it has to be. And it's tough. And if you're struggling with this, like, I see you, I hear you, I know exactly what you're going through. But it has to be worse. It's not that bad in the grand scheme of things. And I think we're all doing great. Uh, yeah. And then another positive point, right? Like, I live in Arizona. Arizona's hot as fuck. If you're going into a gas station, I do this frequently. Like, if I see people outside of a gas station and they look like they're homeless, they look like they're going through a hard time, and they're like asking people for money. As a recovering addict, I know that if somebody gave me money and I was in their situation, I would go and I would spend it on, whatever it is that ailed me. I get them waters, or like, like waters for sure, maybe some snacks. Like, I'm like very consistent about this at every gas station or store that I'm at. Like, I'm constantly trying to do this. And I never see it like instantly like pay forward, like where you like see something else similar happen. And the other day I was on my way to work, got two waters for the two people standing outside. They didn't ask for anything else. They were very grateful that I gave them water. And I think it's crazy that more people don't give them water. It's a basic human need, and like everyone deserves it. Everyone deserves cold water on a hot day. Fucking non-negotiable. But on my way to work afterwards, I saw three separate instances of somebody stopping and giving, somebody on a corner or something like water, their cash, whatever, a snack. Like, I saw three separate instances just on my like 15-minute drive to work. And that's just so fucking cool. And I think everyone just needs to do better. We all need to do better. We all need to help each other out. The people that are out there that are asking for money, that are doing all this stuff, even if, you're like, oh, well, they're addicts. Like, yeah, but I'm willing to bet a lot of money that the people that are out there asking for money and are sweating it out in this heat have already, like, they've already hit rock bottom. They want to get out. They are willing to do whatever they can to get out. They just don't have the right resources, and they don't have the proper channels to go through, and they don't know how to get out because they're stuck in this fucking whirlpool, bottom of the toilet shit that we've all been through as addicts. But some of us are just luckier than others. I was lucky that I had a support system. I was lucky that I got out when I did. I was very close to probably being one of them. And we all need to just help out a little bit more. I talked about before, if you do a little bit different every day, like if you do something a little bit different every day, over time, it's fucking huge. If we all do a little bit different, if we all do a little bit better every single fucking day, it's gonna multiply. It's gonna fucking become this huge fucking thing. And we're gonna help so many fucking people out because of it. So please, like, let's just fucking help each other out, give each other grace, give yourself grace, drink some fucking water, stay hydrated or dehydrated. And you know what? I'm done with the sad thing. Sad thing's over. Suits on. Stay sober, drink a fucking Diet Coke. You earned it. Have an ice cream. Everybody, have a good day.